Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
My wedding is in a month, and it's the most stressed I have ever been in my entire life. Going from one meeting with a vendor to another, my mom now adds to my stress by telling me everything I am doing wrong and what she wants my wedding to be like. If you left my mom to plan my wedding, she would turn it into her dream wedding. Often, I have to find a way to silently decline her requests. It's so frustrating because I need her to help me make things easier, not more complicated. At some point, I had to start hiding to meet some vendors because I didn't want her to come up with a lot of her own opinions, and what I want gets drowned out. The last time we went to taste cakes, she came with my fiancé and me. I wished that she didn't know, but I was with her when he called to find out when to pick me up so we could go together or meet him at the place. It was a video call and I didn't have my AirPods on, so she heard everything. When we got there, she went on and on about what she liked and the flavors that should be at the weddings. Sadly, her favorite flavors were not mine, and it was a big issue. She literally blew up on me and complained that I never took any of her ideas and made her feel like she didn't have a say. It was my wedding. She wasn't supposed to have a say, except I decided to take her opinion. I didn't tell her that, obviously. My fiancé and I tried to calm the situation until we left the place. We had not yet attended to some things, so I promised that I'll take some of her opinions if I like them. I thought I could give her one or two things to be happy about that wouldn't affect the overall wedding. She got so excited, which led her to make a list of things that she wanted for my wedding. The decoration, and even down to some of the things we already picked. She also didn't like my wedding dress and never ceased to express it. The list was ridiculous. I didn't like most of the things that she wanted and wasn't going to do them just to please her. She would have to learn that she couldn't control everything around her. The fact that she brought a list even for the things I had already picked out annoyed me so much that I told her that I wasn't doing anything on her list and tore it up. That moment was very heated, and she said that if I didn't agree to the list, I didn't want her at my wedding, and I said, okay. My mother was used to getting her way with me. She would emotionally blackmail me into doing what she wanted, even when I disliked it or it wasn't convenient for me. Now, I was getting married, and she needed to understand that some things would have to change. I could no longer do all that she wanted just because she said so, and getting me married was the perfect opportunity to cut off from doing that. I'm sure that she didn't mean what she said, but wanted to blackmail me again so I would give in to her wishes. She was disappointed that it didn't work on me this time. She actually backed down from everything and didn't ask about my wedding anymore. I didn't invite my dad to the wedding because of her, so I decided that he could if she wasn't going to come. I didn't want to wed without any parents being there. My dad and mom got divorced, and my mom says that she hates him, but I know that's not true. She also always wants to show that she is doing better off without him. My dad was so glad to be present at my wedding. My mom heard that my dad was coming, and now she wants to come. I had expected a different reaction from her. I thought that she would be angry at me for inviting him. She hasn't spoken to me yet, but because she heard from my cousin who told me that she wasn't furious at all. I know I am going to get her call real soon. She didn't call me for 2 days, and I didn't want to call her either because I didn't want to be the one to break the silence. I wasn't planning on making it easy for her. Yes, I want my mom at my wedding, and she can be really stubborn for no reason. If she wanted to come to my wedding, she would have to bring it up herself and apologize for everything she said. We would create boundaries, else she wasn't welcome, and I would make sure of it. My cousin told me that she had asked her how all the preparations were coming along. This was before discovering that my dad was coming. My mom confided in her that she didn't really want to excuse herself from the wedding, but wanted to make me do what she wanted, but it backfired on her. That was very typical of her. All the more reason why I wasn't going to take it easy with her. She would have to swallow her pride, apologize, and take back what she said about not wanting to be at my wedding. It's all so funny to my fiancé, and he thinks we both are stubborn. My mom clearly wants to be at my wedding, and I obviously want her at my wedding, but none of us is making a move. My mother is a drama queen. She came for my rehearsal dinner and behaved like nothing had happened before. My brother asked her why she was there, and she asked him why the bride's mother wouldn't be. Because people were around and I was low-key happy that she came. I played along and let it slide into the meantime. After the rehearsal dinner, I asked her why she was there and that I only made room for one parent at my wedding, and that parent was not her, but my dad. He was arriving very early in the morning because of the short notice, and that was the earliest flight he could find. My mom started to cry and said that I didn't love her anymore and wanted my dad, who had left us, to take her place on the most important day of her daughter's life. My dad didn't leave. They got divorced, and I don't hate him at all. He's been in my life ever since. It's just sad that he and my mom didn't work out. I reminded my mom that she was the one who opted to leave, and I never forced her, so now there was nothing I could do because she wasn't invited. She apologized, which was what I had been waiting for all along. I hugged her and told her that I forgave her, but we needed to have an important talk about boundaries. My brother picked up my dad from the airport. My brother was going to walk me down the aisle since my dad would not be there. But since plans changed, my dad did walk me down the aisle. And as you can imagine, my mother was not happy. It's not like she would be the one to do it in the first place, so I had no clue why she was so upset. It wasn't that much of a big deal. Well, at least I thought it wasn't, and for her, it was different. Once she realized that that was happening, her countenance changed and she frowned. I just shook my head and continued on like nothing had happened. My mom was always so competitive when it came to my father. I'm not sure why, but she always tried to outdo him or make sure that he knew that she could make it on her own and that she was actually blossoming without him. Sometimes I think they still love each other, but they just can't get it together. I just hope there wouldn't be too much drama on my wedding day. The wedding ceremony went smoothly. I had my fingers crossed the whole time, hoping that nothing too crazy would happen. It was the least I could ask for with my mom and dad in the same vicinity. The reception was in another venue close by, so we commuted there. My wedding wasn't so big. It was as intimate as possible, with only the most important people around me. I'm not going to lie. I was happy that my mom acted up initially, which caused me to reach out to my dad because I really wanted him at my wedding. Still, I was already stressed out with my mom dictating what she wanted in my wedding and having that to deal with. I didn't want to add inviting my dad into the picture. I thought that she would burst, but it all worked out in the end. Before I left on my honeymoon, though, I spoke to my mom and was very open with her. This time, I wasn't sparing her feelings. I was now in a new phase of life, and I needed her to be on the same page as me. I was no longer going to be at her beck and call, or do what she wanted me to do, even when I didn't want to do it. I explained that we were both adults, and having different opinions was perfectly okay. And it wasn't a representation of my love for her. I also told her that I felt that she manipulated me a lot, and I wouldn't like to be put in that situation anymore. She apologized, and she promised to be conscious of it and ensure that it didn't happen again. My wedding was by far the happiest I had been in a long time. I married the love of my life, put my mom straight, and had my parents both with me. NTA. At first, I thought your mom was horrible, but she didn't turn out so bad. The only thing is that you have to make sure that no boundaries are crossed again until she learns what is acceptable and what is not. I don't think you ever want to blur the lines because your mom seems like someone who would take it all. I think Your mom is still in love with your dad. I don't know why they got divorced, so I can't be sure, but I think you can explore it. If there is still something there, then nudge them together. That's if they're still both available, which I think they are because I didn't see anything about step parents.
Next story.
For the last few months, my wife has been diligently planning her daughter's elaborate 16th birthday party. Yesterday was the big day. My wife had rented a place and spent 2 full days decking it over for 50 guests. I got off work and picked up our daughter, 8, from school to go get us ready. Attire was formal. My wife gave me a purple tux. Daughter in a poofy yellow dress. I curled her hair and put a little ribbon bow in it. She looked as cute as a button. She waited downstairs as I got myself ready. I came down and she was hurrying to clean herself. She had spilt cranberry juice while pouring it in a cup. It ran off the counter and onto her dress. I immediately went through her closet to find a dress remotely similar, got her out of the poofy straitjacket and into the other. We arrived 1 hour before the party began. As soon as we walked in the door, my wife said, "What in the hell is she wearing?" I explained the accident, and in return, my wife said it was my fault for not supervising her. I argued that she's a child, and my wife had me return home to clean the dress somehow and make our daughter change. I was agreeable. We were about to leave when I overheard my wife say to her friends, "I can't believe my clueless husband let her come here looking like a tramp, and what the hell hairstyle was that?" My daughter asked, "Dad, what is a tramp?" I called my wife out. She shrugged it off like no big deal. I pointed out the fact that she really liked the way I did her hair. I do her hair a lot of the time before school. On the way home, she was bummed because she thought that she looked really pretty before arriving. I honestly felt bad for her, and I wasn't confident that I'd even get the stain out of her dress. I had her change into a pair of jeans and a shirt. I got out the tux and changed too. I texted my wife and said, after her behavior and hurting our child, we were not returning to the party. I took her to a local amusement park. We had a blast riding go-karts and playing with a huge arcade. I took her out to dinner. We both really enjoyed ourselves and didn't give a single thought to what had happened earlier. My wife later walked in the door and completely lit into me about not returning back to the party. She said I had no right to deprive her daughters the opportunity to make memories together. I said, "Ever since your daughter came back into your life, you have been rude to our daughter and have constantly compared an 8-year-old child to someone double her age, making her feel inadequate as a freaking child." My wife, "You're just making shit up because you didn't want to be at the party." Wife is still currently mad, and I said I needed to apologize to her and her daughter for ruining the night. I told her the only person that needs to apologize is you to our 8-year-old child. She really thinks I'm wrong to the point that I'm starting to think maybe I was for not returning back to the party. But I know I'm not wrong about her needing to apologize. NTA, your wife was out of line in every single way. If she doesn't pull her head out of her ass, apologize to you and your daughter, and get her act together immediately, you should honestly divorce her and pursue maximum custody because the way she's treating your daughter will damage her for life. NTA, your daughter had an accident. That happens with kids, and it's often nobody's fault. You couldn't have known that she would go for the cranberry juice or would spill it. Your wife is being abusive to both you and your daughter. No child is ever a tramp, no matter how they look. You do not apply sexual labels to children, period. You were right to get your daughter away from that toxic environment.
Next story.
I am a 29-year-old woman, and I'm married to my husband of 6 years, John, 34. We have 2 kids, Samantha, 4, and Jacob, 2. We're both working professionals, and so we have pretty busy schedules, but tried pretty hard to make time for extended family. Well, a few months ago, my parents asked my brother and his wife and myself and my husband to get together for family photos. We were happy to do it as an early Mother's Day, Father's Day gift and took the photos about 3 weeks ago. My mom had organized the whole event and gave the photographer a list of groupings that she wanted. She included photos of the whole family, all the grandkids together, each individual family, my parents with my brother and me, myself and my husband together, grandkids with grandparents, etc. It was a long day for the kids, but it made my parents really happy, so we were happy to do it. The issue came up when my mother-in-law saw the photos posted by my mom last week. She told my husband that she would also like to set up a photographer for her to have photos done with the grandkids. We have their only 2. My husband said he would check with me and get back to her, but she said no need since she only required the kids and my husband for the shoot. He thought it was strange and told her that he would get back to her. When he told me, he asked me my opinion. I said it was strange that she didn't need me there for the family photos. I asked him for more clarification, and when we called her on the FaceTime, she informed me that she plans to do a family shoot for just her family. I let her know that my husband could do whatever he wanted, but our children would be sitting out a family shoot that did not include their mother. My husband said if she really wanted photos with him and his siblings, he's the only one that is married, he would do it, but that our children were our family and that they would not be included. My mother-in-law and family are blaming me, and she is arguing that she deserves photos with the grandkids like my parents have, and I already have my family photos from the shoot with my parents. I think that she ruined it when she didn't want to include me from the beginning and is doubling down on her reasoning by saying, I got my family photos already. I may be a TA because I could just let my kids go with their dad, but I don't think I'm TA because it's weird for my kids to do family photos without their mom. NTA, you are married to him. That is a family that is your family, and you are fully, legally and by choice, part of your husband's family, and she's totally and fully an AH. What is it with mother-in-laws not accepting a woman as family when they marry? Sheesh. NTA, but your husband is for not putting his foot down on that. He also shouldn't even agree to do the shoot himself. IMO. If my family ever included the love of my life from something, I would explain that we are a package deal. No him, no me. He is fully supportive of leaving our children out since the 4 of us are a family and we make decisions for our children together. I also am the one that suggested to him that he go, so she can't claim I'm keeping her kids away from her.